Venus Williams' latest journey is nothing short of remarkable. A bold attempt to see just how much longer she can stretch the limits of time and continue competing at the highest levels of tennis. For a fleeting moment recently, it felt like the golden era had returned. The stakes were high, the crowd was packed to capacity, and there was Venus Williams on the court, evoking memories of her prime. When Aryna Sabalenka's singles match unexpectedly ended with a walkover on Tuesday, this created a slot on the schedule that was quickly filled by Williams' doubles quarterfinal. The match was moved to prime time on Louis Armstrong Stadium, putting her back under the spotlight where she has spent much of her legendary career. Clad in a striking black pleated dress and matching visor, Williams took to the court with her partner, Leylah Fernandez, as twilight settled over the stadium. To onlookers, she seemed like a woman on a mission, a determined athlete attempting to undo the clocks and rewind time itself. But here's where it gets controversial. Their opponents were eager to write a different story. Katerina Siniakova and Townsend didn't just end the nostalgic moment. They emphatically demonstrated the stark gap between Williams and Fernandez, who appeared to be playing more for the love and joy of the sport, and themselves, a fierce, focused team playing to win. The top-seeded duo dominated the match, winning 6-2, 6-1, wrapping things up in under an hour. Siniakova and Townsend controlled every aspect of the game, holding their serves consistently, commanding the net, and relentlessly breaking their opponents' service games. Their victory was so decisive, it almost felt gracious, as if they needed to apologize for the one-sided score. In the post-match interview, Siniakova called it an extraordinary privilege to face Williams, a tennis legend she last played against in 2017 during a second-round loss at the Canadian Open. Townsend added a nostalgic note, reminiscing about being drawn to tennis by Venus's iconic Reebok outfits, a style she adored growing up. Both sisters Williams, Venus and Serena, have long been inspirations not only for them, but for countless young players around the world aspiring to emulate their greatness. Williams herself remained composed and gracious, as always. Even at this advanced stage of her career, she embodies the class and dignity that defined her trailblazing path. For fans who have followed the 21-time Grand Slam champion since the mid-1990s, these late career appearances are precious, moments to cherish, knowing that the end might be near but is not yet written. I recall covering the same tournament 2 decades ago when Williams spoke about watching DVDs of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air during breaks between practice and weather delays. When I mentioned this on Tuesday night, she laughed. "DVD? I'm not sure what he's talking about. That sounds old to me." But she did remember the show fondly, recalling how, due to her father's strict rules about watching only educational TV programs during childhood, she didn't see the sitcom until she was older. Watching it as a young adult was major for her, she said, but the joy it brought has never faded. And here's the twist very few expected. The actor from Fresh Prince, Will Smith, would go on to play her father in a film. "Will Smith is a legend," Williams said, expressing admiration for how seriously he committed to the role, investing himself fully and earning well-deserved acclaim. This touching connection has added another layer to Venus's fascinating journey. For younger fans born this century, much of Williams' legendary status may feel like distant history. Few have witnessed the times when she made groundbreaking achievements, winning Wimbledon, claiming the world #1 spot, and dominating the sport before Serena took over. The fact that at age 45 she continues to battle on the women's tour, while Serena has stepped away into retirement as a mother and even made a memorable Super Bowl halftime appearance, is both striking and thought-provoking. Traditionally, the older sibling leads the way and then steps back, but Venus's enduring presence challenges that norm. Her approach to tennis has always been unconventional. Unlike many top pros, Venus skipped junior tournaments and began her professional career at 14, playing at a pace that suited her rather than obsessing over ranking points. On top of a slew of injuries over the years, she's also had to cope with Sjögren syndrome, a chronic autoimmune condition notorious for draining energy. This added struggle makes her continued participation all the more impressive. Nowadays, the breathtaking power and lightning-fast court coverage that once defined Venus's play have undeniably waned, leaving her fighting just to survive the early rounds. For this year's U.S. Open, she was fortunate to receive a wildcard entry, a gesture she deeply appreciated. "I'm so thankful to the USTA for supporting me and this effort. Without them believing in me, I wouldn't be out here." Contrast that with 10 or 15 years ago, when she could easily have retired with widespread support and fanfare. Had she done so, the USTA might have faced a challenging choice between honoring her or the legendary Althea Gibson at this year's tournament. Instead, Williams ignited the festivities on Arthur Ashe Stadium by playing mixed doubles with fellow American Riley Opelka, and then battled Karolina Muchova in singles, enduring a tough 3-set loss after a 2-hour contest. Despite her decorated history, tennis insiders acknowledge that doubles was never her forte. Playing alongside Serena, she only had to cover a portion of the court and watch Serena's dominant serve and volley game carry them. Without Serena, the doubles dynamic shifts drastically. Before the U.S. Open, some hopeful whispers circulated suggesting Serena might come out of retirement to join forces with Venus again. But it was Leylah Fernandez, the 2021 U.S. Open finalist from Canada, who stepped in instead after beating Townsend to win the D.C. Open title in July. A victory Venus found truly inspiring. The feeling was mutual. Fernandez said that seeing Venus play with such joy reminded her of the fundamental passion for tennis, rekindling why she started playing. To find joy on the court, not just for herself, but for the fans as well. Occasionally, the age and experience gap between the venerable Venus and the exuberant Fernandez made Williams look more like a supportive aunt, prepping her niece for a school sports tryout than a direct partner. Yet, together, they were surprisingly effective, cruising through the first 3 rounds of doubles without dropping a single set. However, facing Siniakova and Townsend was a different story. The duo overwhelmed them quickly, racing ahead to a 4-0 lead in just 16 minutes. A powerful 97 miles per hour service winner from Williams briefly stemmed the tide, evoking the flashes of greatness fans remember, but it wasn't enough. "I'm really proud I stayed true to myself," Williams reflected. "I didn't try to play differently or play it safe. I went for it because that's who I am." Still, the match exposed the limits of